feel like I have a part of the process. I'm able to be a part of that. Right now, I'm not feeling too much a part of at least being able to have time to express my concerns or do some research. I don't know how much of the proposed budget was changed to the actual budget last year. I realize there is going to be a public hearing on the budget, so I would have an opportunity to voice any concerns at that time. But just remember, give people part of the process. Let us be part of it. That's what I ask. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Debbie. We're getting jacked up.
My name is Carl Bramer. Good evening to the City Council and Mr. Mayor. Tonight, a couple comments on a couple fronts in relation.
They're going to bother you about your address if you don't say.
Oh, I'm a prior resident of Gardner, resident of Overland Park at this point. So comments today relative to a board member for Festival on the Trails, but also one of the lead sponsors. So I see the Festival on the Trails in a couple of viewpoints, but I think it's important for the City Council to make note as we plan and make this a successful event for the City of Gardner, that's what's paramount. It's paramount for the efforts that go in to make this a successful venture is all about the residents, because that's what it's all about. I think it's in the 7th year, was this year, and so that's paramount that we want to make it a successful event for the city and to make it a destination for the city. So we want to say thank you in relation to the city's support. We know that it takes, we're talking, budget this year, and as we look into next year, as we talk about what support we look into the 8th annual Festival on the Trails. Whether it's city services from emergency management and police and fire and rescue and the volunteers, city streets. This year we had a Friday evening as well as a Saturday event. So that encompassed additional street closures. Parks and Rec were involved, as well as the overall PR for the event. We know that the city did add a link for our festival onto the city's website, and we'll maybe even look to expand that into next year. We increased our budget this year for advertising, because we feel that as we make this a successful event for the city, it's going to draw additional exposure to the City of Gardner and how much the city has to offer, not only its residents, but its potential future residents. They're going to consider Gardner as a place to come to work and grow and raise their children. So as one of the lead partners as far as investing into the city through the festival, we see it as a very positive thing, and I won't steal any of Sam's comments, but it was another very successful year this year, and again, it gains a lot of positive exposure for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Sam Boyazin. I've been a resident of Gardner for 17 years, I believe. And I own Gardner Health Mart Pharmacy. I'm also on the board of the festival, as is Carl. And I'd like to thank you, the council, the city employees, for helping us out with a very successful festival this year. I'd also like to take this opportunity to list for you some of the people and the entities that were involved and were responsible for putting this on. I wrote these down so I wouldn't forget, but first of all is the board of the festival, which comprises of Todd Winters, Todd Mertz, Mary Nelson, Steve Hale, Tori Roberts, Randy Tedford, Shirley Brown Van Arsdale, Dave Fesenmeyer, Chris Payne, Bill Gay, and the late Victor Peck, who unfortunately passed away just weeks prior to our festival. The sponsors, which are the very, very big part of putting on this festival, and I just want to list some of them here. Olathe Health Systems, McCarthy Auto Group, of which Carl is a part, Metcalf Bank, Blue Cross of Kansas City, Johnson County Fair, Central National Bank, Gardner Health Mart Pharmacy, Price Chopper, Bruce Funeral Home, Sign Here, Arvest Bank, TradeNet, Pepsi, BNSF, and National Association of Health Professionals, and Gardner Energy. I list those are only the $1,000 and up sponsors. Many more sponsors, and they're too numerous to mention, also gave, and without our sponsors, the festival could not have ever happened. We had a huge benefit from the residents of Gardner in the form of volunteers. Gardner residents really stepped up and offered help any way they could to help make this an enjoyable event. I can't thank them enough, as should everyone. I mention all of these people and businesses only so that you can get a sense of the magnitude of the people and entities and everybody involved that it takes to put something like this on, because it's enormous. It's much more than those first few names of people on the board that I mentioned. It really is a huge undertaking in manpower and financial backing to put something like this on. The festival was a huge success, like Carl said. As you may know, this is the first time that we added a Friday night. And with the recognizable name to some, like Shooting Star, we were able to gather a crowd estimated around 3,000 people. Of course, Saturday night's entertainment was also hugely successful, with crowds estimated by some to be 9,000 plus for John Michael Montgomery. Our arts and crafts, food vendors, car show were all successful, and of course, the Kids Zone enjoyed huge crowds as well. Our beer garden did extremely well also. It's important that it does, because the money that we make on that goes for seed money into the next year's festival, so that we may improve the level of the entertainment or offer additional opportunities for the festival. Our sponsorship money all goes to pay for the things that we put on, but the beer garden money lets us go ahead and start something or improve on things for the next year. The success of the beer garden was also due to the way it was operated, and I don't want to make it sound like it was just successful because we made a lot of money at it. No, it wasn't. It was successful because of the way it was operated by our workers and watched over by our law enforcement, which resulted in absolutely no major problems whatsoever. As Carl mentioned, the appreciation of the police, I also would like to single them out for a thanks, as my job on the board is operating the stage area and the entertainment, and it's imperative that we keep that backstage area secure, and our police did an excellent job at that. They did an excellent job all over the festival, and that's what made it, in my opinion, really operate and work well. Again, I thank you for your support in helping this community event, bring this community event to the people. This is one example why Gardner is a great place to live, and without the city sponsors and volunteers, it never could have happened. So I want to thank you all very much.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, with no one else coming forward, we can move on to the consent agenda. Is there a council member in attendance that would like to remove one of the two items on the consent agenda? If not, I would certainly entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion, Freeman, second, Shu, that we approve the consent agenda. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Consent agenda passes. New business item number 1. Consider approval of repairs to the JWC grinder from the North Lift Station. I just love the fact that it's called the Channel Monster. Oh, yeah.
Actually, Mayor, it's actually called the Muffin Monster, is actually what the official name is.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Mayor. The grinder at the North Lift Station, and you do have pictures attached. The North Lift Station is located on Gardner Road, just north of 167th Street. The grinder actually failed this summer. Despite staff's repeated attempts to find and repair the problems, the grinder just would not function. So earlier in June, we took the grinder to JWC, or to Lee Matthews, for diagnostics and a repair quote. Since its installation, staff has performed all maintenance recommended by the equipment manufacturer, and the failure